Welcome everyone, this is Eddie Baller from Ultimate Man Builder, and I have special guest on today, Zan Perrion. You may know him from Ars Amorata or his book, The Alabaster. He is a dating guru, has been around for a very long time, and is very well known, and thanks for coming on the show today, Zan.
Well, thanks for having me, Eddie.
And you're coming out of Bucharest right now, which I mentioned earlier has a very romantic sound to it, which kind of very much goes along with your persona. Because from a lot of your content, you seem like a person who really emphasizes the romance in an approach or relationships, and basically a lot of as well as a lot of emphasis on personal development. Like, how did you develop your philosophy on dating? Because your content really is quite a bit different than a lot of the stuff I see out there in the dating sphere, if I call it.
Yeah, like the whole thing is like, and I think there's a bit of a misconception out there because people think that we're all about romance, romancing your woman, romancing the whole thing, but it isn't really what we're talking about at all. And so they think that we're these, 17th century poets that swoon over women. And but the truth is this: we're not talking about the romance of Hallmark greeting cards. We're talking about the romance of adventure and a life of passion, and the romance that we've forgotten as men. To live the romance of the Arctic explorers, for instance. We don't have that spirit anymore, and so that's very much what it is. And it's wrapped up in the concept of men and women, the polarity thereof as well. So, but it's a broader thing than just saying, okay, we're being romantic to women, because that's, then you turn out a generation of nice guys, right?
So what would be the difference there then, like, for like the typical nice guy who really doesn't get very good results with women, like, probably gets walked on a lot and also becomes everyone's friend, as opposed to the adventurous romantic, which you just mentioned?
Well, what is the difference? Is like, the difference is that the nice guy who has good intentions, he's not a bad guy, and really does want to connect with someone, meets a girl, and he turns all his intention and all his focus and all his desires and all his future hopes onto her. Where the guy who's living a life of following his passion and his dreams and casting off from the shore, is heading in a certain direction, and he meets a girl and he says, you should come with me because this is going to be glorious, and he takes her by the hand and invites her to come, but he never ever takes his eyes off the horizon to turn his eyes toward her, which is the big difference.
So it kind of basically avoids any sort of neediness, like this kind of play, but like just being attaching yourself onto somebody and not letting go and eventually pushing them away, which I kind of see happens a lot with a lot of guys.
Yeah, there's no neediness in it at all. It's like saying, I know where I want to go. I don't know how I'm going to get there. I have no clue, but my eyes are on the prize, and I'm looking in that direction towards the horizon. And you are absolutely lovely, and I would love you to come with me. That's all the thing I know. That's my spirit. That's who I am. And there's no, I've been saying for years that, a woman doesn't want to be the adventure. She wants to be taken on an adventure. She wants to be caught up in something larger than herself because her job sucks and her friends are, and her family's on her case, and she wants to be caught up in something too.
Yeah, that's a really big change in emphasis from the way that's really typically most guys go about it. It's like, joining somebody else on their regular life, really, instead of taking them on an adventure, something out of the norm.
Exactly. So it's like, the stuff that I've been doing for years. 12 years I've been doing this kind of stuff. It's all been about, like there's a lot of instruction out there on how to get a girl, or how to get a phone number, how to meet girls, or how to be funny, and how to tell stories and stuff like that. But the only thing that's ever interested me all these years is, what is the spirit of a man who women adore? And we all know somebody that there's something, but he's not tall, he's not good looking, he's not rich, he's not none of these things, and yet women seem to just like adore him and want to take care of him till the day he dies. And that spirit is what I wrote a whole book about, the Alabaster Girl, and that spirit is what I've been trying to describe and trying to understand and capture all these years. There's something different.
Is this something you came to from maybe a bad personal experience? Like, was there a point in your life where you kind of were that needy guy and you kind of saw a different light or a different perspective, or how did that come about?
Well, my whole story. I mean, like, I won't say it long, but I grew up in northern Canada, where you're from. I grew up in the forest in the north, small little town, 1,200 people, but even like a 2 hours deeper in the forest than that. I grew up, with moccasins on my feet and an axe in my hand, and without electricity or running water. And so for my teenage years, and so when I came out of that, I was essentially socially inept, I guess you could say, and I had no clue, but I loved girls. And so I would do my best to approach girls, to try and date girls, but I was so needy and insecure, and incredibly I was just extremely needy. And so I spent years in that mode, and there was no instruction for me when I was trying to figure it out. There was no pickup scene and this kind of stuff. And so I used to go to the bar by myself for years, by myself, lean against the bar and not interact with anybody, just stand there hoping something would happen. And I never, and I decided way back then in my early 20s that I was going to become a student of women. I was going to become the greatest lover women have ever known, whatever the cost. And I set out to be a student of women, and I interacted with thousands and thousands of women over the years, and I put in my time. I was in the trenches, with the mustard gas flying over my head, and I was massively rejected and massively, kicking myself and what went wrong, and slowly, I started to get a sense of it, because I always wanted to know, why is there some guys that the girls, they get a free pass from girls? They can do no wrong. It's like, oh, it's just him. Everybody else has to jump through the hoops and 3 dates, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And prove yourself that you're worthy, and I really wanted to understand that. And my whole journey has been I've been a student of women all these years, trying to understand it. And everything I talk to men about now today, everything I put in that book, is what I learned from women.
Okay, that kind of leads into one thing too. I think is also very misunderstood by a lot of people. Because there's always this appearance from a lot of guys, especially you hear the typical nice guy complaining about this, that women just like assholes, and you even you see sometimes the stereotypical jerk who's with a lot of attractive women. They seem to love him, but I always felt that this had nothing to do with the guy being an asshole, but there was other characteristics or qualities that these kind of guys have that are attracting women to them. What would you say about that?
Well, yeah, I mean, we had a seminar one time where we had a woman there that was assisting us years ago, and we said, or a panel of women, and we asked we asked questions through the women, and whatever you want to ask questions about, and they'll give you some insight. And one guy asked the question, why do women like jerks? Why are they always attracted to the jerks and the assholes of the world? And the woman thought for a second. She said, you know what? It's because they ask. That's why. It's because they show up. Everyone else is standing around wishing, and standing with their beer and wishing they could approach a girl and wishing they have a girlfriend. And the thing is, the reason that women are so attracted to the what we would call the jerk, is because it doesn't look like a jerk to her. It looks like a broken guy that she can fix. And if only her family and her friends could see how he really is and how sweet he really is, because he is sweet sometimes. Only they could see that, they would know. And so, but the whole thing about the jerk is that he's got drama in his life that isn't her. And with a nice guy, the drama in his life is her. That's his big problem, is her, and how to resolve this, and how to get her to, and want to talk to her about this, and he's got the guy who's an asshole. He's got some other stuff going on over here, and hello, my girl, how are you doing, sweetie? And he doesn't put his whole focus on her, and that's the whole point.
Okay, so it kind of goes back to your central philosophy on romance is basically taking a woman on your adventure, and as opposed to her becoming the center focus of everything, like a center of the universe.
Exactly. So imagine if you took the good qualities of the nice guy, which is the attentiveness, the empathy, the spending time, the long walks on the beach type thing, and you add that with the guy who's got an adventure that isn't her, but he isn't an asshole to her, and he's not, but he's got all the beauty of the charm and empathy and humor, but he's also got this magnetic pull to the horizon. That's what women want. And there's so few men that are like that have that kind of a balance. It's either one or the other.
That kind of be like the perfect package for one, basically. Somebody who has their own stuff going on, but at the same time they're also attentive and they're also compassionate.
And desire her and let her know, I really love you. You're the girl I love, and I'm going this direction, and I want you to come because I'm going anyway. So it's exactly what it is.
I see another thing kind of along the same lines too. A lot of guys misunderstanding being kind to a woman. Like it seems like guys get the misperception that if they're too nice or they give in too much, like obviously there's probably a line there, but they think they have to be like this like alpha guy and really rigid and a jerk, otherwise women won't like him. But it kind of doesn't really work like that.
No, like the thing is, like, being nice is not enough. Women say, I want to finally need a nice guy. I would like to meet a nice guy, but being nice is not enough because there's no sense of masculine edge in the nice guy that would really make her take notice and really feel like she's got something to grab onto in a way. Instead, they're accommodating, nice. I mean, our whole generation is great daters. We're great on a date. We've taken Toastmasters and we've learned a few jokes, and we can go on a date and have a glass of wine with a girl, and we can hold our own and have a nice conversation. But that's all we have. We're charming, and we have this upper energy humor and this kind of thing. We're great daters, and we're great massagers. We learn how to massage and how to please a woman. We're great woman pleasers. But we have no sense in us, and women get no sense from us that not only are we charming, respectful, and we are all these great things on a date, but we'll also bend you over without hesitation if you come near me. That's it, in full respect.
Yeah.
We don't give women that spirit at all.
Okay, the sexual edginess, being able to just kind of take charge of the situation.
But that's balanced with the charm and respect and empathy and clear-eyed honesty, as opposed to just all lower energy, which is like, okay, I'm gonna have sex with you, and then you become the creep. But if it is balanced with all these great qualities of the nice guy, you're perfect.
So it's more of a combination.
It is for sure a combination. That's what the problem is. Our whole even our dating instruction out there is how to meet a girl, how to get her phone number or Facebook, how to engage her, how to text her, what cool things to say, to get her over, get her on a date, to isolate her, to get her to your house, to get in a different state, to get her past last minute resistance, and all this kind of stuff. And all it is a presentation and a reinforcement of all this upper nice guy energy, how to be more entertaining, how to be more storytelling. And there's never in it a real kind of sense that be all these great, beautiful, wonderful things, but also let the world know that you have desire in your heart, that you're a man and she's a woman. That's a good thing. We're afraid, especially in Canada, I mean, I'm from Canada, we're afraid to show our sexual nature because you can't do that. You have to be a sensitive, asexual guy. And so many guys go on dates with girls and they have a fun time. They go on a second date and it's a fun time, a third date. And then they end up, she comes over to his house on the fourth date because she likes him, to watch a movie, quote unquote, quotations around watching a movie. And then he wants to know how can I now escalate? That's the phrase, escalate. How can I get from this nice guy shaking hand on a date, joke, laugh, nice guy on the date, to being this lover boy on the fourth date? And you can't, because you were so nice guy, friend, buddy, and now you want to switch it on and turn to a lover boy. It's too much of a gap.
Yeah, they make a sudden jump. I guess that would basically startle anybody who's used to be like the super nice guy. All of a sudden he becomes like super sexually charged, and he's like, whoa, what's happening here? It's like, why is there such a big difference? I
Yes,
kind of see that.
exactly.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, 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 no. I'm listening.
Okay, I was gonna say I kind of see that as well with guys getting phone numbers. Even something as simple as that. Like I tell guys, when if you're getting a phone number, don't make a big deal out of it. Like don't suddenly change the energy. Like whatever your conversation was, the time when you're talking to her after you approached her or whatever, however you met her. When you ask for the phone number, just make it really casual. Like it's not a big deal. Like don't spike the energy and get all nervous all of a sudden because now it's like you're all going for the close.
Mm.
Because all of a sudden that's going to set off alarm bells in our head.
Exactly. Yeah, no, it's true.
All right. And I saw an article on your site, I think it's a recent article, about being unattached to the outcome. And that's also, again, another kind of a misunderstood concept because, and it's really useful too, because guys who are too attached to what happens when they take an action, if it doesn't turn out the way they want it, it crushes them, right? Or they'll blow up or they'll be angry or
Hmm.
whatever it may be. And you can only take that so many times when you're learning something new before you give up, right? Um,
Yeah.
how would you define this concept of being unattached to the outcome when you're trying to meet new women?
Well, it's a great saying, a great platitude, be unattached to the outcome. But for a guy who is lonely and horny and would love to have a girl in his life, he's very much attached to the outcome. And it's easy for people to say, just be yourself, get unattached to the outcome, all these kinds of things, right? But what does it really mean for a guy practically? He can't because he is very much attached to the outcome. He would love to meet a girl,
Mm-hmm.
and so so the concept is more um, the concept is more put yourself out into the world, put your energy into the world. Woody Allen said that 80% of success is just showing up. And the problem with modern men is we don't show up. We drink our beers, we watch the game, we sit there, we watch the never-ending stream of girls go by, and we wish we had a girlfriend, and then we go back home. And instead we think, "Oh, I have to get confidence, I have to have something to say, and so I don't run out of things to say, and I have to have I have to get in state and all this kind of stuff."
Mm-hmm.
But the truth is, just showing up and just saying, "I'm nervous, but you're wearing a yellow dress and you look really nice to me. There's something about that I like, and I'm really nervous to talk to you, and I just ran out of things to say." That's showing up. And so being unattached to the outcome is to put, if you're putting yourself out there, then you can say, at least I did that. At least did my job as a man. She had a boyfriend, or she has a fiance, or she's not interested, or she gave me her phone number, or she's excited to meet me next Thursday night. All of those outcomes are equal if you're putting yourself forth, standing on the earth and saying, this is what I like, this is what I want, and you look nice to me, and that's a good thing.
So just put yourself out there. It's kind of like you get the result from taking the action consistently, as opposed to like putting all of your heart in one single moment that could go in any direction, and then just like quitting. If it doesn't go the way you want
Of
to.
course,
Yeah.
a guy could walk into a bar, walk up to 10 different girls, or a lounge or something, walk up to 10 different girls and say to them quietly, I'm going to tell you something about me. I have not had sex in a very, very long time, and I want to solve that. I'm going to find a woman who will have sex with me. That's what I would like. 10 girls. I bet you one would go. One would say, you know what? That I can honor. That I understand. It's the truth. If you said it with that kind of sincerity and said, it's been a long time and I really want to become more dynamic tonight. I want to feel that energy of female spirit again and smell a woman's body. That's what I want tonight. One of those 10 will say, you know what? That I respect. That's a very nice thing for you to say. I'll do that for sure. And the problem is, we jump around doing all these games and stuff. And trying all things, and we're just not speaking our truth and not saying, hey, here's who I am, and I would like to see you again.
Mm-hmm.
You look nice to me. I don't know. I'd like to see you again. And she can say, well, I have a boyfriend. Well, that's okay. I just said what I wanted.
That's
You
really
see?
cool. I really like that. Seems like you have an emphasis on being super direct, like obviously having some tact to it and
Yeah.
some social skills, but just putting it out there like completely kind of unfiltered.
I am the most direct man I know. And I speak it to women. If I like a girl, she knows it. If I want her in my bed, I tell her. Like
Awesome.
that's how that's the first 30 seconds. I'll see a girl and say, "Why are you not my lover?" This I do not understand. Tell me why you're not my lover. Look at you. Come here. Tell me your name. That's how I talk to a woman.
Hmm. That's great. It kind of reminds me of like for the longest time in my own life when I wanted to bring a woman home. I think a lot of guys have, that's why there's so many articles out there about how to bring a woman home, because
Hmm.
guys kind of don't get to the point, and I ended up getting to the point where I didn't really want to think about it anymore. I just wanted to, it's kind of put it out there, and it could be like yes or no. I didn't say anything directly about sex, but the implication was there. I would just say, let's go back to my place, and I was really surprised when I found it really worked. I didn't have to
Of
like
course.
do anything, go indirectly about it to take somebody home. There wasn't any like trickery or deception. I just said, I just put it out there that, let's go back to my place, and if they were interested, they'd have homework or whatever. But then if they were interested, they're all, there would be like this pause, and I'm like, okay, and we just go, and
Of
it
course.
wasn't a big deal.
And for the ones who say, I'm married or I have a boyfriend, which we didn't know, so we didn't violate anything. We just spoke our truth.
Yeah,
The ones that say that, you know what they'll say? This, well, it's so refreshing. Thank you. Thank you for noticing me as a woman and desiring me. I feel pretty now. Thank you. It's a gift to be able to present yourself like that. And the problem is we don't. We are so asexual and antiseptic, and we're so afraid that we're going to offend women that we hide our light under a bushel, and we've done it in the West our whole lives. And it's wrong. Our masculine edge is, it's a gift from God, and we hide it as if it's a bad thing.
yeah, it's
And
kind of
it's
like being a Ken doll, eh? You look like a man, but you don't really. There's nothing
exactly,
there.
exactly. You know, we have to come out of the closet as heterosexuals.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
We're in the closet. We're closet heterosexuals, and it's time to come out of the closet and say, "Yeah, I'm a man. You're a woman. I like that energy, and I like the dynamic of it."
Yeah.
That's enough. If a guy says that and comes with that energy, with the brightness and empathy and respect, women will give him all kinds of things.
Hmm. What would you say to guys in terms of being so direct and so honest? Like, I'll tell guys this too as well. Like I say, when you go approach her, tell her exactly what's on your mind. Tell her what you think about her. And then, sometimes they're kind of joking, but because they don't really understand the concept, they say, oh, I just walk up to her and say, I want to fuck. And I'm like, well, no,
Yeah,
it's a combination of the honesty with social tact. Like, there's a kind of
yeah.
there's a way to deliver it that's going to be more receptive. The women are going to be more receptive to this message. How would you tell guys to go about being direct? Like, what would be being really direct and honest, but doing it in a way that's conducive to a better end result?
Well, there's still like social graces around
Mm.
all conversations, right? And we're not pigs. And
Yeah.
so yeah, but you can let her. The problem is it doesn't mean you have to say like I want to jump your bones, but you can basically but your desire should be part of your conversation. Your desire as a man. If there's something about you, and I really like the way you look. That's a powerful thing to say. Even if you follow it up by saying, and I'm really nervous to talk to you, doesn't matter if you're nervous or you have things figured out or you're confident, you have things to say. If you're showing up and say, you know what, there's something about you I really like. And I love the way, I like your dress, for instance. You're saying the same essential thing. I say very direct things.
Hmm.
Like, are you my girl? Who's your name? Who's your friend? And what's your name? And who's your other friend? And then why are you not my girl? Are you my girl? Come here. Tell me a story. But that's me. That's my crazy spirit. But so yeah, you're not going to stare at a woman's breasts or be a pig.
Hmm.
You still have to be, socially conscious and socially honorable that way. But you can definitely let a woman know that I see you not as just a buddy that I want to hang out with. Because, like, I can't tell you how many times a girl said to me, I thought it was a date, but I'm not sure. You invited me to go, yeah. And I don't know if it's a date. Because never show our intentions. The guy goes, well, I don't know if she likes me. It's because we never speak our truth about, I like you. And yes, it is a date. I would like to take you on a date. That's what I want to do.
Mm. Yeah.
Instead, we say, we'd like to hang out sometime, which is a phrase that should die. It's so ambiguous. There's no, we have our sentences go up at the end like a question. We say, So I went to the mall and I bought some shoes. It's all interrogative. We're all like, we don't make statements. When we're talking to girls, the whole thing we're saying is, well, it was nice talking to you in the Starbucks line here. Would you like to get together sometime? Or are you free on Thursday night? Because blah, blah. Or would you like to hang out sometime? Instead of guys, and this is what your listeners can do, instead of making these questions to girls you just met, you should never make questions. You should always make statements. And you could change it. And it sounds exactly the same in her mind, but it changes into a monumental seismic shift. Instead of saying, are you free on Thursday night? You say, I would like to see you on Thursday night. Or we should get together on Thursday night. Same thing, same spirit, but a period at the end. Instead of saying, would you like to get some coffee sometime? You and I should get coffee. I would like that. Statements. It changes it. There's a leader now here who's stating to the world what he wants as opposed to asking her for favors.
Yeah, I like that. I kind of see the asking part as almost like a cardinal sin. Like, would you like to? Do you want to? It's like almost very needy. It's expecting a negative response as opposed to when you make a statement, like you said, it's expecting a positive response. Like, why would they say no? Like, of course they want to go with you.
Well, more than that, it's expecting it. When you make a statement, you're now putting your energy into the world. All you're doing is expressing to the world, this is what I want. I'm not asking for it. Yeah, I can't get rejected because I'm not asking for anything. I'm just saying this is how I'd like the world arranged around me. I would like that. I would like to see you again. You and I should get coffee. That, in my worldview, makes a lot of sense. That's what I would like. She could do what she wants with the information because you did your job as a man. You showed up. So she can say, well, it doesn't matter what she says at that point. The ball is in her court. Everything I say to a woman, the ball is always in her court. I don't ask for anything. I make statements. This is what I would like. I would like to see you again. Period.
And where does physicality come into all this? Now, we've been talking a lot basically on the verbal side of things, being very direct in that way, but where would you add physical touch? Like, not necessarily on a date, but like right from the very beginning, like right from the point where you approached somebody new and you let her know that you liked her.
Well, I'm always like, when I'm talking, I'm expressive with my hands. I'm talking to girls, I'm like gesturing here and I'm gesturing there, and I'm like, and so a natural extension to my gesture is to tap her on the shoulder or tap the other girl on the elbow and say, so listen, blah, 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 tap, tap, tap. And I do that all the time. I never linger my hand on her arm or her elbow or anything. It's the same way that girls talk to us. They touch us all the time. We don't notice it. If you're talking to that girl in Starbucks line and you're telling a joke or something and you're waiting for the coffee and she gets her coffee and you're making a joke about the change and she got a venti or whatever and you're making these kind of jokes, and then she turns to you and she puts her fingertips on your elbow and says, listen, I've got to run. It's so sweet to talk to you, but I have to go now. She taps you on your elbow with her fingertips. You don't even notice it. It's the same thing. It's humans connecting with humans. It's not aggressive. It's not a overtly sexual thing. It's just saying that I'm respectfully, just like women talk to us, and we never do it in return. But if a man did that with that full respect and charm and smiling energy and just and tapped a girl's elbow, and as he said, it was really nice to meet you, thanks, that kind of thing, very subtle, cloth only, nothing, just a tap, then he'll never be in the friend zone again. That's a strong thing to say, but it's true.
Yeah, I always tell guys to do like kind of incorporate the touch into your, like you said, you're very expressive with your hands, like incorporate it into your vocabulary. It's like every time you say something in a certain way, like you're asking asking a question, you automatically just go do a quick touch there, right? This should be automatic.
Right.
I've actually even seen a study where they said, I don't have it in front of me right now, but they said that just by the act of a man touching the woman on her forearm during a conversation, I forget the exact numbers, the percentage, but it makes it more likely she will give you her phone number after the conversation.
That's interesting.
Yeah, just from the little touch.
Of course.
Whatever the test they did, it made it actually more plausible. Like it's actually going to happen, as opposed to somebody who had no physical contact, who was just kind of like standing there like a robot or a stiff in front of her.
Yeah, and the important thing is you're not putting your arm around her waist or putting your arm around her shoulder or massaging her elbow. You're reaching out into the air of life around you. You're gesturing to the horizon over there with your left hand, and you're tapping her on the shoulder with your right hand. Can you see what I see over there? It's that kind of feel. It's very respectful. And I would do it to old women, whatever, it doesn't matter. It's like connecting.
Oh, totally. I'll notice that even from if I meet like a guy somewhere, like even in a coffee shop, I was passing by, just by the act when they're smiling, they briefly touch you on the shoulder, or the arm, or something like. You automatically feel more of a connection with that person. Like they seem like a friendly person. Like, oh, that guy's really friendly, right?
Of course, and no one would ever think that the guy was too forward,
No.
right?
Yeah, you can do basically both sexes actually, and not have it being
Exactly.
sexual at all if you don't want it to.
Exactly. But the women will. But it isn't a sexual thing. But the seed that's planted in a woman's mind is this guy is in his body, which there's no friend zone. It's not possible. She'll never. She may not be attracted to you. She might not be. You might not be your type at all. She might not even like you. But she'll never ever think, "Wow, he's a nice guy." Because you're in your body.
No, I
And
agree
most guys will
100%.
in. Yeah.
And we're coming to a close here, but before we go, if anybody wanted to contact you for training or ask you a question or whatever it may be, where's the best place to get a hold of you?
Well, zanperrion.com, zanperrion.com, and arsamorata.com, arsamorata.com, and buy my book on Amazon, The Alabaster Girl. It's like 400 pages of talking about this very thing, and it's 10 years in the writing from birthday to birthday, and it's everything that I've ever learned about men and women in all my years. It's all in there. So um, read it and enjoy it. That's how you can find me.
Yeah, that's actually that's a book I haven't read it yet myself, but I'm definitely looking forward to checking it out. I've heard good reviews about it, so I think that'd be a great read.
Yeah, let me know when you've read it. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Maybe.
Yeah, no, I think I'll probably do a review on it as well on my site, so that'd be great.
Oh, beautiful. That'd be lovely.
Awesome. Well, thanks again for coming on, Zan. It's been a pleasure
Okay.
talking to you.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome. And this is Eddie Baller from the Ultimate Man Builder.